We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. ISRO carries out historic 100th mission from Sriharikota. GSLV F-15 successfully carries NVS-02 into its planned orbit. Mission is successfully accomplished. India rejects Canada's report on election interference, accuses Trudeau government of consistently interfering in internal affairs. A US court temporarily blocks President Donald Trump's freeze on funding for federal aid programs at an emergency hearing after Trump's order triggers nationwide chaos and confusion. In Congo, M23 rebels take control of Goma, solidifying their hold on eastern Congo. In capital Kinshasa, protesters target foreign embassies. Congo calls for sanctions on Rwanda. US urges UN intervention. US-European tech shares recover some losses from steep Deepseek Monday sell-off. Trump's crypto czar says intellectual property theft may be at play. And on to the top story this hour. The Indian Space Research Organisation successfully today launched their GSLV F-15 carrying the NVS-02 on 6:23 a.m. at Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh, marking ISRO's 100th rocket mission. The GSLV F-15 placed the 2,250-kilogram NVS-02 satellite into the orbit, paving the way to enhance India's indigenous navigation with Indian constellation system. The NAV-IC system, India's answer to global navigation satellite systems, provides crucial position, velocity and timing services across the Indian mainland and extends up to 1,500 kilometers beyond its borders. This launch marks several significant technological advancements in India's space capabilities. The NBS series introduces L1 band frequency compatibility, enhancing interoperability with global navigation systems and simplifying integration with mobile devices. These improvements are expected to reduce hardware requirements for manufacturers and enable more straightforward software-based implementation for phone manufacturers. The mission is also the first for the Space Agency's chairman V. Narayanan, who assumed office recently. It is ISRO's maiden venture this year.
I am extremely happy to announce from the spaceport of ISRO that the first launch of this year, 2025, has been successfully accomplished, with the GSLV F-15 launch vehicle precisely injecting the navigation satellite NVS-02 in the required intended orbit. This mission is the 100th launch from our launch pads, which is very significant milestone of India.
Well, and now we have Anbarasan joining us from there. Well, Anbarasan, after the success of SpaceX, this is a historical milestone for ISRO and for the country.
Very good morning, Lipakshi. The happy news from the Sriharikota is coming. ISRO did it again with successfully lifting off and separated the NVS-2 mission of GSLV F-15 from the Sriharikota second launch pad of Satish Dhawan Space Center. We have continuously seen the successful launches of ISRO for recently, and particularly from 1917 in the humble start of from the Sriharikota, and we have achieved this level as ISRO chairman Narayan said that that it's a kind of a giving boost to that Indian space sector, particularly after various missions including Chandrayaan and Gaganyaan, Mangalyaan, and particularly building a various, recently we did a SpaceX docking mission also and successfully done. So kind of building a Bharati Antrik station, which is our aim for 2035, and also man mission mode for the Chandrayaan on 2026. So continuously kind of a boost towards our Indian space agency, particularly ISRO is doing very well on that. And this particular the mission NVS-02 is focusing on the navigation, particularly we already did on 2020 the fast NVS-1 mission, and this is the upgraded second version, which is more precise one, nearly a 20-meter accuracy, and it's covering the entire Indian subcontinent, including our neighboring nearly 1,500 kilometers of land area. And also it will be focusing on the maritime and also in the aerospace level of communication. So it will be helpful for the farmers they can identify where their paddy grows. So the application of the satellite is very much important and very helpful, and particularly this mission also there is a instruction from the mobile manufacturers on last 2023 given by the Indian government as that to inbuild the NAVIC system. We have like America's GPS, and various countries have their own indigenous navigation system, and this NAVIC system, navigation with the Indian constellation, which is called NAVIC. So creating an indigenous own GPS system is very important for India's national security, and also focusing on more on defense level. So it will be a kind of another boost for the Indian defense and also particularly security level. And the chairman also continuously mentioning that various support from the union government. The union cabinet has recently cleared that the third launch pad from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, which is nearly a 420 million budget. So it will be helpful for the launching various heavy vehicle rockets, Mark 3 and particularly GSLV level launches. And we have did 100, which is including a PSLV, SSLV and Mark 2, and these kind of launches will be from these spacecraft. And also there is another small launching pad from the Kulasekhara in Tamil Nadu. So continuous boost has given to the Indian Space Research Organization from the Union government. That is how about the Union, the Defense Secretary, and also the ISRO Chairman Narayanan sir.
Well, Anvasan, also ISRO launching now space docking satellites, first launch of this year, and tell us how it will be helpful and contribute in the space sector as India is now in the elite club.
We are the pioneer on various levels, including we have recently on January 16th, we have done that successfully space docking mission. So it is a kind of a overall mission which is focusing on creating a Gaganyaan and the Chandrayaan 4, and particularly the Chandrayaan 4, which is comparing Chandrayaan 3, it is a very humongous level. We are sending a 2 rocket which are 5 payloads. So this will be docked in the moon. So for that kind of thing, we need a technology of SpaceX mission kind of size. We have done successfully, and the building a Bharati Antrik station, the Indian Space Center in the space, it will be very important to have a docking technology. So we have done that in recently, and this year the first mission, which is the navigation NVS-2, that is also successfully done. So we are going forward with the various launches in this year, which is focusing and more towards on the missions like Gaganyaan to send the moon man to the moon mission, and also the Chandrayaan 4, which is going to launch and expected to launch on 2026, and 2035 we are targeted that to building a Bharati Antrik station in the space. So kind of a overall achievement ISRO has done successfully, and particularly not only for us, we are also done various helpful launches to the various neighboring and friendly countries, including SAARC nations and also the African nations. So we are done as much as we can do for that, and also particularly creating a various indigenous technology, the SpaceX mission and this navigation NVS2 mission also focusing on that indigenous mission. So it will be creating an indigenous level of technology on various aspects, so it will be better we can make that.
Right, and also this mission, as you said, is crucial for Chandrayaan 4 and Bharatiya Antariksh Station. It included astrobiology experiments and payloads from the private sector setups. How important is that?
The Union government has cleared that recently, not only the ISRO, the private sector also can give inputs and support to the Indian space sector. So after that decision, there is a flooding of startups in space sector, and particularly various private companies are giving and this NVS2 mission itself, various technology and equipments are taken by the private sector. So we have done very continuous support from that, and nearly 250 startups are there in the space sector, which is more relevantly, and we have also done various, recently also there is a Agnikul launch, which is recently done by a small startup. So we have created an ecosystem for Indian startups, particularly on the space sector, to more focusing on that or developing a various indigenous system. So overall, creating atmosphere is very important. So we will be aim to more focusing on creating a various level systems, so we can achieve that. It's not only for us, for our entire humankind, it's very important.
All right, the boundaries of space exploration definitely pushed forward. Thank you so much, Anbarasan, for all that information from there. And moving on, India has firmly and unequivocally rejected a Canadian Commission's report about alleged interference. The Ministry of External Affairs issued a strongly worded rebuttal dismissing the baseless allegations by Canada. The MEA said, and I quote, "We have seen a report about alleged activities on purported interference. It is, in fact, Canada which has been consistently interfering in India's internal affairs. This has also created an environment for illegal migration and organized criminal activities. We reject the report's insinuations on India and expect that the support system enabling illegal migration will not be further countenanced." And moving on, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a 3-day visit to the UAE, called on President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and conveyed warm greetings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In a social media post, Minister Jaishankar said that the leaders discussed continued progress and comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries, adding that he values his guidance for its future growth. And the Maha Kumbh, the largest religious gathering in the world, is observing its second Amrit Snan today. In view of the millions of devotees arriving in Prayag Raj, authorities have issued an advisory asking all devotees to treat the ghats as equal to the Sangam and avoid any rush of misinformation of any kind. Elaborate security and crowd management systems are in place at the Mela site to assist the devotees. Traffic advisory of the police is also in place for Prayag Raj to ensure proper crowd management. Well, the Maha Kumbh is having Amrit Snan today, 29th of January. Today is Mauni Amavasya, and in view of the millions of devotees arriving in Prayag Raj, there have been special advisories by the authorities. Authorities have issued an advisory asking all devotees to treat the ghats as equal to the Sangam and avoid any kind of misinformation or rush of any kind. A big day today as it is Mauni Amavasya and second Amrit Snan at Maha Kumbh Prayag Raj. Elaborate security and crowd management systems are in place at the Mela site to assist the devotees, and the traffic advisory of the police is also in place for Prayag Raj to ensure proper crowd management. And now we have Akshay Dongre joining us from Prayag Raj. Well, Akshay, today is the second Amrit Snan. Tell us more about what's happening there.
Well, we are here at the banks of the Sangam of the three holy rivers, Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, and along with us are millions of devotees who have come from not just India or from all parts of the country, but from the entire world. There you can see people have already started taking dips in the holy confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati since early in the morning. In fact, people had started pouring in after midnight, and they have all been practicing their rituals here. They are taking dips along with their family members. However, the crowds have surged to an unprecedented numbers. In fact, the government had given an estimate of about 100 million people who are expected to take a dip in the holy confluence of these three holy rivers at Prayag Raj, and people have in fact turned up in those expected lines and expected numbers as well. Therefore, the government has also, the authorities have also issued advisories to the people that people should not be going to specific ghats like the Sangam Ghat, and in fact they can go to any part of the Mela area and they can take dip so that huge crowds do not converge at one point that can in fact lead to chaotic situations. And that is why advisories are being issued by the authorities that people should not go to crowded areas. People should in fact go and take dip anywhere where they find possible, and that is the advisory that has been issued by the authorities as of now. So far, where we are at right now, the taking dip process by the devotees is going smoothly. The authorities are trying to ensure that people do not crowd specific areas that are the more popular crowds, and the entire process of people coming into the city and taking dip in this holy conference will continue throughout the day. So today is in fact the day of Amrit Snan, the most important day as far as this Maha Kumbh is concerned, that has come in 144 years and in fact is the world's largest religious congregation ever that has taken place in the history.
All right, Akshay, treat all the ghats as Sangam Ghat. That's the advisory been issued. Thank you so much from reporting from there. And right now, time for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
This week on Defense Dynamics, explore India's scramjet breakthrough in hypersonic missiles and its edge in global tech. Why is India reviving its German submarine deal with HDW after 50 years? Find out what's at stake in Project 75I. How does Pralay strengthen India's border defense? A closer look at its tactical advantage. And is China's air power really ahead of India's? The IAF versus PLAAF comparison that might surprise you. Catch it all this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Moving on, US President Donald Trump's attempt to freeze hundreds of billions of dollars in federal aid was temporarily blocked in court on Tuesday. Minutes before it was due to take effect at 2200 GMT, a federal judge blocked Trump's spending freeze that would have affected thousands of federal grant programs. The court will revisit the issue on Monday. The Trump administration said programs delivering benefits directly to Americans would not be affected. The White House said the freeze was needed to ensure federal aid programs are aligned with the Republican president's priorities. It was unclear whether other multi-billion-dollar grant programs such as scientific research, highway construction and addiction recovery would be affected. Democrats criticized the spending freeze as unlawful and dangerous. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio issued a waiver on Tuesday for life-saving humanitarian assistance during a 90-day pause in foreign aid while Washington undertakes a review. The U.S. foreign aid pause risks cutting of billions of dollars of life-saving assistance. The United States is the largest single donor of aid globally. In the fiscal year 2023, it disbursed $72 billion in assistance. And moving on, Chinese AI sensation Deepseek limited the registration of new users due to large-scale cyber attacks on its services. The company cited large-scale malicious attacks for outages and its inability to take on new users. Deepseek was developed by a startup based in the eastern Chinese city of Hangzhou. The low-cost Chinese generative AI venture is thought to have matched U.S. companies in its abilities, but at a fraction of the cost. Chinese firm Deepseek's artificial intelligence chatbot has soared to the top of the Apple Store's download charts. The program has shaken up the tech industry and hit U.S. titans, including NVIDIA, the AI chip juggernaut that saw nearly $600 billion of its market value erased, the most ever for one day on Wall Street. Well, though U.S. stocks and shares in chip-making giant NVIDIA on Tuesday clawed back some of their losses, American tech shares tanked Monday, with NVIDIA tumbling almost 17% after China's Deepseek unveiled its R1 chatbot, which it claims can match the capacity of top U.S. AI products for a fraction of their cost. All three major indices on Wall Street finished higher, with the Nasdaq Composite rising 2.0%, buoyed by a rise in tech stocks, reversing some of its losses from Monday. And as crisis unfolds in eastern Congo, M23 rebels seize Goma's airport, cutting off the city's lifeline for aid to hundreds of thousands displaced by the war. Bodies line the streets after a brutal offensive that forced government troops into retreat. Reports indicate Rwandan troops are backing the rebels, escalating tensions. In Kinshasa, rage boils over. Protesters storm UN offices and embassies, blaming foreign interference. The U.S. orders its embassy staff to evacuate. With fighting spilling into neighborhoods, fears of a regional war mount. The UN warns of a humanitarian disaster as thousands flee into Rwanda. South Africa mourns its fallen peacekeepers. Well, the United States has urged the UN Security Council to take action against Rwanda and M23 rebels as their brutal offensive grips eastern Congo. U.S. envoy Dorothy Shea demanded an immediate ceasefire, calling on Rwanda to withdraw its troops. Also in Goma, UN officials describe unimaginable civilian suffering. Addressing the council in a helmet and flak jacket, UN envoy Viviane Wande-Pere warned of an escalating catastrophe.
Resuming the Rwanda process is of the utmost urgency to ensure a path towards de-escalation and to avert the looming threat of a third Congo war. We remind all parties of their obligation to uphold international humanitarian law and stress that attacks on United Nations peacekeepers may constitute war crimes. The degree of suffering that the population in Goma and its environments is enduring is truly unimaginable.
Well, Congo's foreign minister demanded sanctions on Rwanda, while Rwanda's envoy denied involvement, blaming Kinshasa's military ambitions.
Le Rwanda continuera-t-il d'abuser votre respect From the United Nations Charter to international humanitarian law to human rights and also the Rwanda and Nairobi peace processes, Rwanda has proven time and again that your statements mean absolutely nothing.
En passant par les processus de paix de Rwanda.
I'd like to recall that these attacks are not the first, but the latest of a long list of provocative actions by the government of the DRC. I'd like to also recall that Rwanda has always shown restraint and sought to engage the DRC in dealing with the root causes of insecurity in the region and along our common border.
And on to sports news now, World Chess Champion D. Gukesh has become the sole leader after he beat Leon Luc Mendonca in the 9th round of the Tata Steel Chess Tournament in Western of the Netherlands. He clinched his 4th win of the tournament in just 43 moves. Gukesh, who became the youngest World Chess Champion in Singapore last month, has secured 6.5 points from a possible 9. Gukesh's next 4 opponents include 2 Dutchmen, Max Warmenden and Jordan Van Forest. He will also face a stern challenge from last year's defending champion, Wei Yi. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Pakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.